Welcome back to Mega Man 3! In today's edition, we're going to beat the game. With it being the final stage and all, nothing in this room except a bunch of power-ups, so let's grab them, I guess. Blow up some weapon energy, shoot at these mystery capsules, see what we get. Oh, hey, a 1-up! I just love stockpiling up an absurd number of extra lives. There's nothing much to do here for a while until the boss actually makes its way onto the screen, so yeah, scoop around for a bit. All it does is shoot at you anyway, so let's respond in kind. I'm about to switch to Spark Shock in a bit here, which we've just seen 3 times in a row be useful in this endgame. For as tragically misimplemented as this weapon is, it winds up being a very dependable boss weakness on account of its fast speed, decent size, and ability to have 2 on screen at once. You're never out of ammo, at least not for long. I'm trying to beat the second phase as fast as I can with Hard Knuckle, since it really does nothing interesting, just crawls around to the left and right of the room, and can smash you into a pancake if you're trying to pass through underneath it. But I'm facing to the left here, so that I can moonwalk all the way, hit my stage directions, and oh, that's interesting, never seen that before. Mega Man's jumping backwards in the air. Like, when does that ever happen? Certainly not in-game. Okay, I guess this is the real final stage. That makes sense, we still have to fight Gamma. We were promised a fight with Gamma. And Doctors Light and Wily may have named Gamma on the spur of the moment, but Gamma actually comes up a lot in physics and math, which I assume they're very good at. There's the Gamma function, which extends the factorials, 5 times 4 times 3 times 2 times 1, that kind of business. Extends it to the decimals and complex numbers and most of the negative numbers. There's the Lorentz factor, represented by lowercase gamma, which describes things that happen as you approach the speed of light. And check it out, you can fidget around with Brush Jet in some mildly amusing ways. Lowercase gamma is also used to represent the adiabatic index, or the ratio of heat capacities of a substance at constant pressure and constant volume. And all of this is a pretext for me to stall out these last few stages because there is nothing going on here and I'm struggling to try to make things look or sound interesting. And now I do a little dance. Where was I? Oh hey, you can slide through these boss doors. Something I guarantee you haven't seen with any other set of doors in this playthrough because it's impossible. Anyway, gamma rays are the highest energy light rays possible, and a gamma ray burst is when some kind of star blows up Shadow Void, resulting in what NASA calls the most powerful type of explosion in the universe. 3 guesses for what we're going to turn Gamma into today. Phase 1 is weak to Shadow Blade and Hard Knuckle, Phase 2 is weak to Search Snake and Topspin. Gamma nominally takes 2 damage per hit from both of these weapons, but on half a bar of health, that ties him with Dot Crash and Top Man for the title of most resistant to Topspin out of all the bosses that are affected by it whatsoever. Though, since he has no invincibility frames, Topspin can destroy him with just 2 presses of the button. If you're down here and find yourself out of dog power, you're meant to jump on Gamma's Spike-Knuckled Fist to get yourself back up to the high ground. Hopefully you're not out of snakes or spinning power too. Side note, blink and you'll miss it, but just look at how Mega Man stands awkwardly in the air after delivering the final blow. That happens no matter what weapon you use, actually. Just another fun quirk of Mega Man 3. You just saw me go spectacularly out of my way to position myself to actually face Wily in this final scene. In 99% of playthroughs, your back is turned to him, and apparently that's how it's supposed to be, as that's how Breakman finds us as he saves us. Guess he isn't Wily's lackey after all, given that he made no effort to get to Wily even though he was standing right on top of him. Epilogue. I mean, I don't even know if we really had a log beyond Wily ran off with Gamma, but...
Mega Man, you've regained consciousness. I found you lying here when I arrived. I wonder who brought you here. This whistle, it must have been Proto Man.
Okay, now that I've gone through the whole script, I guess it's time for the review portion of this video. Mega Man 3 feels like it's held together by duct tape and popsicle sticks. It's unpolished, glitchy, unoptimized, and level design sometimes doesn't even have a real learning curve. Examples include Gemini Man, which starts off and ends hard, Top Man, which starts off hard and ends with a head-scratching top section never seen again, and the Dog Robot stages sometimes return to a challenge to make it harder, but just as often give us carbon copies of the originals. Castle stages frequently feel unfinished and sometimes spend half their length funneling power-ups to you, and the last 2 stages are just rooms of energy refills that lead to boss battles. Bosses themselves tend to have very simple patterns and are way too difficult because of awful hitboxes, tremendous lag, absurdly short windows of opportunity, and a distinct lack of tells. But they're also completely trivialized by certain weapons that make the whole fight look inelegant. I really do not like how a few of the bosses look in-game. Some of them are fine, but Hard Man, Top Man, Needle Man, Spark Man, these ones I might have less of a problem with if they went through a few more drafts. Otherwise, the graphics are an improvement from the previous games, which already were very impressive for their time. There are micro-adjustments to all the small details, like nearly all the sound effects, the explosions, the physics so that Mega Man doesn't have butter on his shoes. Screen transitions are no longer delayed by a fraction of a second, and ladder climbing is at a reasonable speed. And the slide! Whew, the slide is fantastic. It's so intuitive, responsive, satisfying, and glitch-free. I suspect that 90% of development resources went into making sure it interacted properly with every single platform and surface in the game. Only a few oddities remain, like sliding over large gaps, or jumping out from narrow crevices, or being able to slide through only one set of boss doors in the whole game, and none of these issues are game-breaking or even really noticeable. All the serious glitches are, without exception, confined to the other aspects of the game, which admittedly are not super fun. I judge Mega Man 3 less as a finished product and more as a prototype for what it could have been. Mega Man 3 brings to the table tons of new content and concepts that are to become mainstay features in later games. More stages than before, the aforementioned slide adding mobility and speed. Rush is a lovable, friendly, and loyally consistent way to package up what have up until now been a motley collection of arbitrary, unrelated items. The new half-screen menu is a precursor to the full-screen menu of all future games. And at the same time, this installment retains all the elements of what makes Mega Man great. Awesome graphics and music, 8 distinct bosses, 7 creative and conceptually neat weapons, and Shadow Blade, tons of memorable, readable enemy characters, a serviceable plot that pits you against Wily, freedom to choose your own boss order. Mega Man 3 has offered so much that's new and essential to the spirit of Mega Man that looking at it all in hindsight doesn't really do it any justice. It's a watershed moment for the series that gave the impression of lots more to come. A promise that future games didn't quite hit, and how could they? Mega Man 3 set the bar for exciting change extraordinarily high, and that could be why it's the favorite of so many. I'd personally choose something more like Mega Man 9 or 10, which are extremely polished and suffer virtually no glitches at all, and whose only real frustrations are poor UI design for secondary elements like the shop or the pause menu. I do very much like my games perfect and presentable, but I enjoy Mega Man 3 in a way that I don't actually get with any of the other better-behaved Mega Man entries. Having spent so much time with the game, glitches and all, I have loads of fun trying to come up with new and cool and crazy ways to complete the game. I hope you enjoyed coming along and seeing me goof off in this veritable sandbox. Special shout out to Gemini Laser, aka Flashman85, who very much inspired this run. Once again, my name is Fusion. I thank you for sticking around to the end and hearing my piece. If I ever do something like this in the future, I'll see you then. Take care.